Just wanted to make this video about the empty, vacuous shit show that's become YouTube politics now. Even though it was a shit show back then, it was a shit show with authenticity. And now it's all dead. It's all over, you know. Basically what happened, it seemed that this really was expedited after COVID. Like, people had no more interesting things to talk about after COVID, you know, after all was kind of said and done. I mean, I remember, like, when I was watching YouTube politics, like, back in 2018, and I remember, well, I started watching in 2016, but I remember by 2018, you started to notice repetition of the same stories, you know, the same horror stories, the same pathology being said over and over again. And what I see now is just idiocy everywhere. You know, it's just degenerated into just this slew of grifters. You know, you can credit the whole manosphere thing. This manosphere thing, okay, there was the MGTOW movement and there was the whole red pill, and that was back in 2015, 2016. We had names like Anita Sarkeesian and her delusional spats that she would be having with Sargon of Akkad, or aka Carl Benjamin. People like Carl Benjamin were the early OGs, okay? They were there first. People weren't doing this for the money back then. There wasn't this the grift wasn't there. It wasn't there because there was too much risk with it, and people were too cowardly to say what they thought, and these people weren't. So they said what they thought, and they called this stuff out. And so now you get grifts, and the thing is too is that it's dumber now too. People, these grifters, they're dumb, uneducated, lesser intelligent, you know, not educated at all. Some of them, like Fresh and Fit, for example, who are just outright imbeciles. You know, and you just have these people online. You know, it's just like a claim. I don't know what it's like it claims to be authentic, but it's like, no, you guys are too stupid. You weren't there back then. You know, and so now that the whole thing's just become this kind of commercialized marketplace, it really is like a neocon commercialism. You know, people like Andrew Tate, for example, which I remember his face first showed up as early as I can remember on Paul Joseph Watson's video back in 2018, back when he had hair. And I think that, you know, I didn't watch the guy. I didn't know who the hell he was. At that point, I was tuned out. I was watching other things, like the IDW was taking off. I wasn't really following a lot of politics during this time. I was following that. You know, there was the whole big new atheism versus Christianity, things like the Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson debates, this kind of thing. But, you know, then this guy comes in and, like, you know, at the time, like, he wasn't this larger than life figure. That didn't seem to happen until about, well, 2020. Then he becomes this larger than life figure, you know, and it's like, and then comes out, once the allegations of, you know, him being a pimp, him being, you know, with his cam girl thing or whatever, with his brother or whatever, and that he was exploiting, like, all of these people, it was like, it's over, you know, and I just, at that point, to me, it was like, it's over, because there was one story back then of this guy called Brian Rose, and he ran this thing called London Real. I don't even know what it was. Some free speech business thing or whatever. And it turns out that this guy was just he was a grifter. And if you know this story, it was back in, I think, 2018, 2019, something like that. And this guy got exposed for just being a total grifter and exploiting people's money and all the rest of it. Like, he just basically, you know, he went behind the whole he just went behind the whole label of free speech, of being this free speech warrior and all the rest of it, and you know, it kind of just ate him up. And now I don't know about London Real. How big is it now? Do people still follow it? This stuff was all exposed. And so, but now it's like you just have this endless grift of just people who are just outright just, you know, and it's just this douchebag narcissistic mentality of just vapid narcissism and empty materialism. Like, you know, just that, just materialism. Woo, yeah, bro, you know, where's your Bugatti? Like, this kind of thing. Like, just this idiot thinking. No one thinks this way. No ordinary person thinks this way. If you've worked a job like in the trades, or if you worked at any kind of blue collar working class job or whatever, nobody thinks this way. Nobody does this stuff. You know, it's just like, can't we just be kind of normal for once? You know, and so after, I've just been paying attention to this. The reason I'm making this video is me and my friend had basically, you know, we caught on to this grift and everything, and political channels nowadays, so for, you know, like, and there's all of this bickering and this infighting, all these quarrels going on between all these channels now. So, you know, Steven Crowder gets exposed. Steven Crowder has his beef with Daily Wire, and he tries to frame Daily Wire as being this, you know, being the bad guy. Doesn't go well, doesn't end well. And just to, you know, put the icing on the cake, oh, look, he's a woman abuser. He abuses his wife, you know, verbally abusive and blah, blah, blah. And, like, he, you know, he basically comes out as being just this tyrannical person, even to his own staff. I don't know if it was tyrannical to his own staff, but he was weird. You know, he was a weird dude. You know, he came out being a weird dude. It's okay to be weird, but he crossed, you know, he was doing stuff that was just, you know, neotenous. Like, you know, pulling his pants down and flashing coworkers, stuff like this. You know, it's like, yeah, the fame gets these people's heads, and then I guess they just kind of think they're invincible, this kind of thing. It's not anything new. But, where am I going with this? So, me and my friend, we decided that we weren't going to go on the internet for a week. And, you know, we just kind of we just were, you know, talking about certain channels. He made the point about a Russell Brand video he watched, and, like, it was just all clickbait. It was just all clickbait, like, you know, he's not, you know, they'll say this one thing in this video, and then they'll say this stuff in this video, and then you watch the video, and it's like, dude, this didn't happen. I remember watching a video by this one guy, Mr. Sunshine Baby, Canadian channel, and he makes a video about oh, Trudeau, like, Trudeau went to see this indigenous went to some indigenous rally or whatever, and they were all booing him and blah blah blah, and they're all heckling him. He gets booed out of the building. And it was, you know, kind of this rhetoric that was, or the situation that was implied. You watch the video, and no, they're not booing him, and they're not heckling him. There was, like, some mild, you know, you might have heard some mild disappointment, but, like, a rampant booing, like you get, you know, when frickin' Gary Bettman walks on the ice, like if you watch the NHL, no, nothing like that, you know. So, yeah, it just, and so the week is, today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow is when I go on my laptop and finally, which I left at my mom's place, because I was like, I can't, I just wanted away you know, I'm ready to throw this thing in a lake, you know. So I, you know, leave the laptop at my mom's place, and a week has passed, and so far this year, it's been the most productive week of the year. You know, it's been the most productive week. So, I mean, yeah, like, it just made me think, You know, and the other thing too, it's not just politics with these YouTube channels. There's been a number of people making YouTube videos about why they're quitting YouTube. But my friend who I'm doing this was we established this covenant with, that we weren't going to go on we weren't going to access any internet. You know, he made the point about, like, he watched this video on the pros and cons of getting off the internet. And you know, he watched this video, and what annoyed him, what was interesting, his point is that what annoyed him was that, like, the guy had to play, like, I don't know, devil's advocate, is that the word? It's like the guy had to put in, oh, but there's still the cons of not being on the internet. Oh, but just to make sure it's okay, the internet still has all of its fruits and all its utilities. And it just gets to a point where it's like, you know, just shut up. This thing is dead in the water. You know, we have, you know, it's just, the internet is just dead. It's just dead. Anywhere you go. I mean, you just spend any amount of time, and it's like, yeah, you know, like, I've just wasted all my time on here at this point, you know, like, I'm not going, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is just tired and old, and, like, it's really gotten to a point where it's just time to get off, and not, like, you know, kind of go full Luddite and just abandon it altogether, but really, like, the whole idea now of having my laptop at my mom's place and just leaving it there, you know, is, I kind of like it. You know, only caring about accessing the computer on the weekends, like on a Sunday or whatever. Yeah. You know, it's nice. And so, I just wanted to make this video about, there's a bunch of stuff that wasn't fleshed out. This is, you know, I'm obviously just talking off the cuff here, but, you know, I miss the old days. Even though it was demoralizing as all hell, like the YouTube Blood Sports and all the early political channels and everything, but you know what? The difference was, like, these channels actually cared. You know, they actually gave a shit. They actually cared. And you couldn't find that information anywhere else, which led to a lot of doubts in yourself. Kind of. It could. But you couldn't find this information anywhere else. No one was talking about this stuff. And now it's all, a lot of people know about it. A lot of, you know, most people here on the street where I live, yeah, they're anti-woke. You know, wokeness has gone too far, of course. You know, LGBT insanity. Just lunacy in the schools. This kind of thing. But online, it's just like, you know, the thing that bugs me is, like, the anti-LGBT stances that those people took online and that us as observers took were there because we wanted to, it was, you know, think of the alt-right. It was like you wanted to red pill the masses or whatever. I mean, for me, it was a free speech movement initially before it was hijacked by Richard Spencer and all these white supremacists. But it was still a free speech movement. You know, it wasn't ideologically captured in the beginning. So, and I've seen the alt-right been used wrongfully online. Like, people who have no idea what the hell that movement was, or that it's even, that realizing that it's even dead. You know, you just have a lot of these, a lot of immigrants now, a lot of non-whites who, it's worth being said, just aren't intelligent people. They're just not. And they're kind of just capitalizing on a lot of Tate's message and all the rest of it. Here's something I want to point out. This is what I see developing. This is what I think it might develop. There's going to be this other conservative ideology. It's going to be really low resolution, really unsophisticated. And it's just going to be based on Tate's worldview. It's going to be based on, this is basically what it's going to be. Pro-Islam, anti-feminism, anti-LGBT, and anti-white. Or perhaps just anti-Anglo. It's hard to say, but I think it'll be anti-white as well. And that's what I see developing. You know, there was a recent tweet he released out where he just basically just mockingly derided. He wasn't in denial of it, but he mockingly joked about the Great Replacement theory and how oh yeah, like, I mean, he didn't deny that it was happening, but he just mockingly joked about it, which, you know, him being half Saxon himself seems to be hypocritical. It is hypocritical. To me, it's just, you know, it's just part of the grift. But you just see this stuff developing now. And I think that the goal for Anglos, is to really just start to get themselves off the screens and maintain their sanity. You know, and maintain their sanity and their humanity. Because you hear a lot of Anglos now talking about just getting way too caught up with the delusion and the lies and the insanity, not believing in these things, but just becoming so like their reaction to it is just like, you know, I'm gonna crack. And my advice is that we can't take this route. We have to maintain our humanity and our sanity. We have to maintain these things, you know. And so, yeah, I you know, this is just an off-the-cuff video. Wanted to get these thoughts off my chest. Well, there's some other things. There's also the idea of the situation in Europe with the Muslims. Here's my question with the Islamic activists, like the pro-Palestine activists in Europe, in London, you know. I'm really curious, do they actually want white Europeans to become Muslims? Because it doesn't seem like you can find any signs out there of them saying, why can't you just convert? Why can't you just become Muslim? This kind of thing. Convert, you know, like if they, I've never heard or seen a sign of one of these Muslims waving, one of these Islamists waving a sign that says, you know, convert or else. You know, this kind of thing. And yeah, do you guys, you know, do they really want white Europeans to become Muslims? Or would they just rather them be erased? That's, you know, it's not obvious to me how many of them would choose either or both. You know, and it's just, it's all just a total complete mess. It's a biblical mess. It's a mess of biblical proportions. So it's just, and you have to wonder, do white Europeans, native Europeans, do they start to say, yeah, let's do it. Let's become Muslims and start our own white supremacist jihad, or ethnocentrist jihad. Think about that. You know, like, that's, and I'm not saying that they should. I think what they should do is become Christians. I think that they should follow Jesus. I think that they should surrender to Jesus. That's what I believe. I don't believe that this should come at the expense of their conscience and their soul. So, what else? Let me think here. It's all politics I'm talking about. Well, I'll leave this video for that, or I'll leave this video at that. And if anyone watches, you know, leave a like and leave a comment. All right. Ciao.